What we into this week.
Welcome back to What We Into.
You know, I gotta say, you doing the intros all this time has been a boom. I would say to our fledgling corporation, a boom, Lawrence. So you keep getting it in there. I'm your boy Rob Karma Robinson, and
I'm Lawrence Dial. That motherfucker.
That motherfucker Lawrence is what we like to call him around here. So what were you into this week, my G?
I'm gonna bounce that back to you and say, what were you into this week?
Oh wow, well, bro, it was an interesting week because, like I said, I had a lot of days off because of the coronavirus, aka just the flu. Because I don't want to get no clicks from propaganda because nobody around here had the actual coronavirus.
Man, don't joke about it. It's more dangerous. The flu.
Yeah, the flu actually kills motherfuckers.
Yes, exactly.
I was actually into a lot of foreign language shit this week, man.
Okay. Did you see Parasite?
I did not. Not yet. I did see, however, Narcos Mexico Season 2 and Diabolero Season 1 and 2.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Spanish language particularly.
Yeah, very Spanish language particularly. Now, Diabolero is kind of like... it's kind of like a Spanish version of... What's that show that your wife likes with the two white boys who drive a car around?
Dukes of Hazzard?
No. The two white boys who drive a car around. Oh, Supernatural.
Supernatural. Oh, right. The sci-fi horror version of Dukes of Hazzard.
Motherfucker said Dukes of Hazzard. I didn't know Laura liked the Dukes of Hazzard. So
she does. She does.
We could have been hanging out a
product of her time.
We could have been hanging out a long time ago. No, Diabolero, basically, the season 2 just got released on Netflix. And I had started season 1 way back in the day and kind of fallen off. And so I went back and kind of rehashed it all and watched that. It's really good. It's okay. It's what I'm saying. It's comparable to Supernatural, the show with the two gentlemen, hunting down supernatural things. It's comparable to that, but it has a very strong cultural, a Mexican cultural aspect about the supernatural that makes it kind of a standout. It's a little bit more quirky and a little bit more funny, but it's also really kind of personal and steeped in like Mexican lore and stuff like that. It's worth a see. It's worth a look-see.
So the synopsis is: a young priest enlists the help of a demon hunter and a paranormal expert to search for a kidnapped girl in the underworld of Mexico City.
Yeah.
Cool.
So like that, it takes place in Mexico City, which is, I think, a boon to some of this viewership. It's good. It's good. And the other thing, Narcos Mexico Season 2. I don't know if you're watching any. I don't know if you've watched any of the Narcos shows, but they're so fucking good. And I was in a bar the other night here in Sacktown, and there was a cat who was telling me that a few people died on the production, this season 2 production, and according to him, his name was Pedro.
Okay.
Glean from that what you will.
That's authentic.
Look, glean from that what you will.
That has to be true.
And he was saying, according to Pedro from the bar in Sacramento, California, a few people died on this last production of Narcos Season 2. And according to him, it was because they didn't ask the right people to film where they were filming. Because I think a lot of this was shot like on location in different parts of Mexico or whatever. It's very good. If you don't know what Narcos is, it's basically they're chronologically telling the story, history of narcotics traffickers from this part of the country and in relationship to the law enforcement, either DEA, I think almost always DEA based people who are chasing them. It's very good,
right?
And I think what's his face? Is it Diego Luna or who? Who was the Mandalorian?
That's
Pedro Pascal.
Yeah, exactly. Pedro
Okay,
Pascal.
so Luna is I think is the lead in this one, and he plays the main narco trafficker.
Right.
And all of this is actual accounts of this. They're dramatizing history.
Yes.
So like, and what they do real well is they intersperse like actual footage. So like they'll be showing you like Mexican television with like the result. Like it's very high quality historical drama, which I highly recommend because it plays into so much of what is going on in our current society with like drugs and shit and what's going on in Mexico and things like that. So yeah.
So I watched all the Pablo Escobar Narcos.
What? Yeah, that was Narcos. And they did what? 2 seasons. That was Narcos. That was the first one.
Right.
This one.
I started.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say I started Mexico the first season, and I think it's one of those situations where I kind of liked the show but wasn't super engaged. But then my wife was not super into it, so we had just ended up watching something else.
It's one of these things that it definitely because so much of it is happens between Spanish speakers. There's a lot of colloquial kind of important shit that happens, but you have to read. You have to read Spanish dialogue.
Right.
Especially
Oh my
especially
God,
in
reading.
especially in Narcos Mexico, which Mexico is in the title, so there's going to be a lot of Spanish. There's going to be a lot of Spanish speakers.
Oh God, just force it on me.
Right. And so like, so that they're because they're filming like slice of life historical shit. Some of these scenes are just really intimate, kind of quiet things that you have to pay attention to what's going on with the dialogue because it informs so much up. Like it took me a while to get through it because like I would get distracted, and the way that I view a lot of content is I'm watching multiple screens while trying to maintain like a through line in a story. So like it's easier for me if I'm watching something in English because I can just kind of like
not watch it, just hear it.
Watch it, just hear it.
Yeah.
But with Narcos, I have to pay attention to the screen all the time because if I don't, I'll miss something crucial and key that informs something coming up or a few episodes down the line. You know what I'm saying?
And you've been to my house, and you've seen how my TV often has subtitles on it.
Right.
That's usually because either my wife or my kids will consistently talk through whatever we're watching or over it, and I need the subtitles for that same reason to kind of follow even something simple sometimes. And I'm also a writer, so I like knowing the mechanizations of this is how this happened, and this has got this character to here. A lot of people can just be like, now this character's here. I don't need to know why that character got there.
I need all of that information for me. It I don't know. It just tells. It helps. It helps me sort of understand what you do as a writer. Like I'll never claim to be a writer, but the one time that I did write something, and I didn't even really write it. I just took what someone else had already written and shuffled it around, added other bits and pieces from some other things he did, and did that as a piece. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
the process of being a writer, like, and pulling something out of the ether that has never existed before, and like making it something that exists, and it's let's just forget about if it's successful, good or bad.
Right. Just getting it to any sort of place. That so fascinates me because I can't do that. I am, or maybe I can. I've just never been put to task to do it.
That's more likely. Yeah,
it doesn't really appeal to anything that like the creator in me, the artist creation part of me has no desire to create something for myself, like a vehicle like that. Which is weird, right? Is that weird?
No, I think it just depends on the type of I'm kind of a snob about it, but to be honest, I half the time I can't do it either. And a lot of the plays of mine that you've read or that you've acted in or that you've been a part of. You were seeing the combination of 1,000 different choices, and the only ones that ended up on the page are about 200, right? But there's been 1,000 mistakes to get to those 200 choices, and so So not all writers are that. Not all writers like throw that much shit against the wall and see what sticks. But I have to because I just don't.
But
I'm not disciplined enough to be able to make those choices from the beginning.
What's interesting about this is how like I hear that and I can make this connection to the kind of gamer that you are.
Yes.
Like the kind of games that you like to play.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Whereas like
talk about that. That's interesting. What do you mean by that?
Just in the way that you described like the process of like you're writing just like 1,000 choices thrown at a wall with only like 200 of them being successful enough to make it. Or like for me, that is exactly what any of those Dark Souls games or Sekiro or any game like the games that you like to play. That 100% makes like I see the link between that and your process as a writer. And if you know, like I am so reticent to that style of gameplay, it actually kind of speaks to the psychology of gameplay that I like.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
It's a very different process, like because when you enter into you're going and you're in Sacramento to do this play. All of the script is right there in front of you. Everything that you're likely going to say, at least a 99%, is on the page, unless they allow you to improv things, right?
Right. Which I feel like in some measure, most good live theater is a combination of that.
Right.
And we've been lucky enough. The writer has been here. The writer came in the second week. He was here. He's been in the room for some of these rehearsals. And I've gotten to sort of one-on-one with him and kind of like interface with him. And at its core, this is how I like to work. I like being able to access the writer and ask questions and be like, "This is what I was thinking. Is this what you meant?" And having him being able to be like, "Yay, nay," or and I think that's why that's the kind of gamer I am. I love co-op games. I love like the Mario parties, them kind of shits.
Right.
But because I used to be that kind of gamer. I would pick up Madden. I would pick up the competitive sports games because there was a time I had a bastion of people that could play those games. But as we've all gotten older, we kind of most of my friends have aged into taking care of other human beings, and I'm still running the gamut of like, yo, who wants to run some Madden? You know?
Yeah, I mean, I love co-op. I love those styles of games too. I'm not sure why particularly because I've been playing a lot of Neo over the last couple weeks. I'm not sure why those games appeal to me. I think there's something tight about the structure of it all that I appreciate. You know. I don't know.
And those games infuriate me. Like I was replaying God of War. That was one of the things I was into this go round was God of War, and a Game Plus replay, which in the Game Plus replay you keep all the stats, all the experience that you earned in the first playthrough of a game, you take with you into the second playthrough of it. And so I played through the story again and kind of finished the game, but then started going through and doing like a little of the cleaning up of the feats of the world, and kind of raged quit after a certain point because I got to a certain point where like it just wasn't worth it to keep playing through if I was going to go through the same obstacles of overcoming these obstacles that I had already faced. I was like, I'm not gonna fight this boss 50 times like I did the first time. It shouldn't be this difficult. You know what I'm saying? This is a new game plus. I should be able to just walk through these and just achieve what I want to achieve and meander on. And I stopped playing it. I actually deleted it from the hard drive it wasn't worth it anymore to keep beating my head against a wall. But I feel like that is the gameplay that you sort of gravitate to. Is just like I'm gonna face this boss 50 times 100 times if I have to. Just
Neo really opens up once you're able to get this special sloth talisman and slow down the bad guys, which takes about
changes the game
5 to 8 hours to get to that point of leveling up. But once you get to there, like I haven't come across a boss that I would say in a week or two, probably about five bosses from that point on that I've had much of a struggle with. So that sloth talisman almost feels like a cheat to me.
So it's like being too OP then.
Yes. Yeah. You're overpowered. You can slow them down. It only lasts 30 seconds, so you got to get in and
that's
get
time.
as many hits as you want. But that coupled with your Amarita, whatever it's called, Oyamaga, or your little spirit animal that jumps out of your sword, those two things together, you can pretty much wreck any boss from that point on. So I feel like as the game actually moved out of the realm, boss-wise, that I prefer into more of a game that you prefer at this point.
Interesting.
But it's going to take you, it would take you 5 to 8 hours of struggle to get to that point.
I see.
So, yeah, I think Pedro was right about Narcos, but I think he was thinking... And this
he was right. So some people did get killed on it.
Well, what I found so far in my extensive research of while we were having this conversation is that from The Guardian it says Netflix scout for Narcos TV show found shot dead in Mexico. But this is over 2 years old, so this sounds like this was for the first season, right? Carlos Muniz Portal, 37 years old, had worked for many years finding locations for U.S. films and television productions in Mexico.
Oh, shit.
So it says that, let's see, Netflix confirmed the death of the scout. Quote, we are aware of the death of Carlos Muniz Portal, a respected location manager, and we offer our condolences to his relatives. He had worked on films such as Man on Fire, Mel Gibson's Apocalypto.
Yeah, okay.
And the fourth Fast and the Furious movie.
Okay, that makes sense.
A friend of Muniz said that on Monday he drove to the location to take some photographs for Netflix. The circumstances that led to his death are still unknown. Muniz's body was found hours later in his compact car, having been shot several times. Car was found in an unnamed dirt road.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, our man at the bar, Pedro, wasn't wrong, but it may have just been the timing of the seasons. Because what I eventually said to him in the conversation, I was like, I guess we won't be getting a season 3. But sounds like we will definitely getting a season 3.
I think it's just like anything. And Mexico's just like any large country in the U.S. You can send somebody out as scout all alone. Somebody can roll up on them, or they could see something they're not supposed to see, or whatever. Or it's just somebody wants to kill somebody and he just shoots them. You're out in like one of the Utah deserts.
Well, here's the thing. Now, if you go and you actually watch Narcos, like I said, it's telling you the history behind narcotics trafficking through Mexico, dealing with the U.S. Mexico and the cartels have been, like, the government of Mexico and the cartels have been in bed for a long, long time.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, like, the shit that is going on in Mexico, your scout man could have easily just gone into a place where he shouldn't have been without permission and got murdered.
Yep. And not even realize that's what he was doing. Yeah.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. This is less about sort of like the kind of violence that just happens in a country that's as big. Like, my man was like on scout for this production. Like, he was trying to get the authenticity behind some shit. Didn't realize he shouldn't have been crossed the boundary he shouldn't have crossed and got murdered for it.
Yeah.
I feel like yeah. Anyway, yeah.
So I actually
go ahead.
I went back to Birds of Prey and I took my kids.
Wait, you took the girls?
Yeah.
You didn't tell. Oh my. Okay.
I'm saving it for the podcast.
That's very good. Well done. Well done. I feel like you're not a really good secret keeper, but
no,
that was
pretty good on that one. Yeah.
So
they had all week.
Wait. Did you tell Laurel you were taking? Was this like a girl? Don't tell.
I did. She was not super happy about it, but I think that was more because she kind of wanted to see it. Why
didn't you go? Why didn't y'all all go?
What was that? Well, because that weekend, I don't know. We sat around and we talked about it, and we decided let's just go see the Sonic movie anyways. But then I sat around and I was editing the podcast of Birds of Prey, and I started thinking about the movie and like what it was about. And I just ultimately felt like the message of the movie about a girl who's getting rid of a guy in order to be who she wants to be outweighed the negative.
Outweighed the negative of like the violence or like other stuff.
Right. There's also and also thinking when she goes into that police station, she's never the one who's killing any kind of cops. You know what I mean?
Nobody. She doesn't murder anybody.
No.
Nobody dies in that sequence. She beats these guys unconscious, gets what she needs to get, and keeps it moving.
Yeah.
I feel like it's not until like the last third of that movie where like they actually start murdering people indiscriminately.
Yeah. And those are all thugs. And the other thing I noticed about those thugs at the end, right? And when I say thugs in the comic book sense, they're all wearing.
They're also trying to murder them.
They're all wearing masks. So the movie really tries hard to avoid showing persons of color or cops being killed, right?
Wow. Okay.
You know what I mean? It doesn't necessarily.
I honestly had not even registered that until this moment where you were like, yeah. Now that I'm kind of like thinking back on it, you're absolutely right. No cops and no person of color were ever like shown being indiscriminately like murdered. Wow.
And then I also kind of wanted to see it again because of the box office, and I felt like I was kind of bummed.
You wanted to throw your dollar into this hat because of what and who is representing.
There was also nothing else out at the time really for them to see. And once again, it's a strong girl doing.
Yes, it is
making her own choices in a movie.
I think honestly for me this is probably, and like having time to sort of like sit and marinate with it, and I know this is gonna go counter to a lot of the motherfuckers I rock with and respect opinions. Steve Jones is one. This was the best DC movie that they've made.
I don't think that.
I think that for a number. I think that for a number of reasons. I think that for the collaborative effort of it being, it is a superhero team. It is better than their Justice League. It is better than their Suicide Squad. Name any other team up movie that DC has made that is better than this movie. And I'd even go so far as to say it's better than Wonder Woman.
Okay, I would not. I think Wonder Woman's. I still stand by after seeing it twice now. Wonder Woman's a better movie. I think this movie is better than Shazam.
Oh, by a lot. By a lot.
Whatever. We don't need to run through all what our DC picks are again. Right. But I did want to talk about the final. So far, the numbers right now, off of a budget around 80 to 100 million, it's made 175 million so far.
That's
so
bullshit.
At the 80 million point, if you double that, that's 160. So it looks like it's actually kind of broken even.
It's broken even, which is bullshit.
And I came across like an article by Basil Marine Chase. It's kind of an industry analysis thing. Anyways, they're talking about how Birds of Prey, the box office failure, is make believe, and he's comparing Birds of Prey to Kingsman, or she. I'm not sure if it's a boy or girl.
Okay.
And so he starts talking about some numbers, and at the time, I think Birds of Prey has made around like 84 million when he's doing this article. Kingsman at the time, the movie Kingsman, The Secret Service, which went on to make 2 and now a 3rd sequel that's coming. It was an 81 million, so it's exactly the same budget, and it made only $3 million more its opening week. So Birds of Prey made 33 million opening week. Kingsman made 36 million, right?
Okay.
And that movie was never. There was never calls in the media about how Kingsman is a failure and a bomb.
Right.
Everybody just pretty much saw Kingsman and was like, "Oh yeah, this is pretty good." And then they're like, "Oh, there's a sequel? Yeah, we'll go see that." And the sequel kind of took off.
Right.
So it's interesting how with this movie, maybe possibly because it's female driven, we're looking at it and saying it's a failure. A previous financial standard with Kingsman, we're looking at that because it's a male movie and potentially saying
Okay,
or at least ignoring the metrics.
I hear what you were just sort of kind of like alluding to, but I don't think that. I think the case with those two properties is this, because granted they both are comic book graphic novel properties, and I think they're both under the same umbrella. I think Kingsman is a DC property,
right?
But the thing about that all being that Harley Quinn is prime DC property, whereas Kingsman is tertiary DC property. Because if you didn't know about the Kingsman, if you didn't know that Kingsman was Like you had to, I didn't know that Kingsman was a graphic novel or a comic book until like the movie came out,
right.
and I kind of like went down the rabbit hole of like, where did this come from? How did this get, that kind of thing? And I was like, oh shit, this is a comic book.
Yeah.
So when you're dealing with like, I feel like when you're dealing with prime comic book property, like the standard is going to be a little wonky, and especially if it's female driven, especially if the characters or the crew and the surrounding people who are making it are female driven. You're at a double negative now. You're at a double disadvantage. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I think because I agree with you. I think you're absolutely right. I think they're ostensibly the same property. They're basically the same thing, right?
Similar, yeah.
One is male driven, and one, but like at the end of the day, one is Harley Quinn because and here's the fucked up thing, like the standard is she's prime property because also she's connected with one of the most prime properties, the Joker.
Right. She's
really prime property because of who she's associated with. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So that there you go again, where it's like it's not even really about her. It's about who she's connected to. And because you don't really see him in this movie, it's easy to be like, oh, well, that's a failure. And that, you know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah.
It's a double standard.
Also, the Joker just made, it was like, I think, $50 million, and it made almost $1 billion in box office.
And it's not even that...
and it's not even that good. And it's not,
yeah.
Exactly. I think from a sheer entertainment level, Birds of Prey...
Birds of Prey is way more...
Yeah.
Like... way more entertaining.
Right. I put on Joker for Laurel because she'd never seen it, and after
she got bored in the first 20 minutes, right?
I started cringing because I just thought it was coming off so bad to me. It's not going to age well. That movie. It's not because,
and like I said, it's not going to age well in the same way that Taxi Driver and them types of movies don't age well.
Well, hold on. Because Taxi Driver I rewatched recently to compare it to Joker, and it enthralled me. I'm not saying that the race relations in that movie or what that movie was probably trying to do
or the incel
has aged well. I'm talking about the actual performance of Joaquin Phoenix will not age well. I don't think that movie is going to age well.
Wait. Say that. Wait. It sounded like you said the actual performance of Joaquin won't age well.
No,
and the movie won't age well.
I think it's going to be very cringy in a few years. I think it
was cringy now. I think it was not. In my opinion, it was not deserving of the Oscar. It was not deserving of the nomination. The entire he was fine in what that was supposed to be doing, but the fact that this movie won the awards that it won this year, to me, is tantamount to it kind of just reinforces the kind of supremacy that is going on in this country right now.
Yeah. The other thing is compare Birds of Prey to Ford vs. Ferrari. Not only because Birds of Prey also they slotted into February, which is the worst month of the entire year for movies.
The shortest month, also Black History Month. What? Not conspiracy theorists, but just some shit. Yeah. Okay.
So Ford vs. Ferrari had a higher budget, theoretically, than Birds of Prey at $97 million, and it only opened with $31.5 million. So it's it's actually kind of fares worse than Birds of Prey.
Yeah.
But we have none of the narratives, none of the news narratives surrounding Ford vs. Ferrari as a financial failure.
And ostensibly, those are the people who are in that are bigger stars by a lot than that. And notice we don't see their names attached to failure or struggle or any of that. Yeah. So I feel like people being out there being like, oh, this isn't about this being a female helmed anything. I'm like, don't feed me that narrative because you already know that's a lie.
Agreed.
You already know that is a lie. Because there's already been a standard, a projected standard of films in the same realm of this but without this level of animosity written on the page for them. Kind of like I feel like this was an active and I feel like Margot Robbie being the sort of person that she is, like her being willing to throw her own bread behind this and being one of the like executive producers, and sort of the willingness to be, with the willingness to give women the shot that she gave them and platform that she gave them, because I was wildly entertained by this film.
Yeah,
it's not great. I'm not going to say it's the greatest of comic film I've ever seen, but it was wildly entertaining. I love this cast. There were just so many positives to it that like it shouldn't have been shit on the way that it was shit on. Like in its opening foray. But anyway, we're getting way off topic.
Well, not necessarily, because the other thing that I watched this week, because I wanted to rewatch it to see what I thought about it and see how it's aged, was the original Charlie's Angels from the year 2000.
Wow,
and it's great. I watched it with the kids, and it's so much better than the 2019 Charlie's Angels that just came out.
You saw that this week, then?
No, I'd already seen that with the girls in the theater. Remember, that was one where Elizabeth Banks directed, and then when nobody showed up and it got poorly reviewed,
she shitted on it.
She blamed that men didn't want to go see it because it was about women.
It was just a bad film.
But it's not terrible. You can watch it. It's okay. I wouldn't say it's bad. I'd say it's just mediocre.
Well, I mean, compared to the Charlie's Angels of Cameron Diaz and
it's bad.
Lucy Liu, then it's bad.
Yeah, because the Charlie's Angels 2000 has Sam Rockwell, Crispin Glover, Bill Murray.
Compared to that one, that like this new one was
the Mocha Pony.
Okay. Well then, okay.
It holds up amazing. It's got LL Cool J. I'm just telling you, it's on both Netflix. I don't need to talk about Charlie's Angels that much, but both those movies are on Netflix right now. Watch them before they go away, because they still hold up, man. Crispin Glover's awesome. I went down a deep search about what happened to Crispin Glover, because essentially
he's just a weirdo, and Hollywood just got done with weirdos.
With Back to the Future, I'm gonna make this very quick. With Back to the Future, at the end of the movie when they're filming it, he goes up to Robert Zemeckis and he's like, "I have a problem with the ending of this movie." Because it seems as if all the characters are suddenly happier because they have more money and they can buy more things. It becomes this kind of like,
advocate.
Yeah, the reason that they're happy is because of money. And Robert Zemeckis kind of shoots him down, and he feels, and Crispin Glover feels so shitty about it when they invite him to make the second and the third Back to the Future. He denies it and says, "No, I don't want to do that because my opinions were not respected, yada, yada, yada." So then they bring in another actor, they put a fake nose on him, and they make him look like Crispin Glover. Crispin Glover sues Robert Zemeckis and Back to the Future and whatever company, Fox, and wins for using his likeness in those two movies. So then he's got a ton of money. Yeah.
I didn't know this!
Yes, exactly. That's how much they make him look like Crispin Glover. And it's a totally different actor. So then he's got all this money. So he just kind of like does his own thing now. If he wants to make a movie, he makes a movie. He has like a house in Vienna or whatever. Anyways.
Oh, shit.
That's the very brief story of why you don't see Crispin Glover in a ton more things. He can do whatever the fuck he wants now.
Well, I just remember seeing him like in a bunch of interviews and just being super like I'm reticent to use the word weird because like, I fucks with him.
Yeah.
Like I would see him in these interviews and I'd be like, "Yo, I fucks with this kid." And I say kid, the motherfucker, he gotta be 50, almost 60 years old, but he made his deal at the Crossroads a long time ago.
Yeah.
He looks just he's that's some Dorian Gray ass shit is all I'm saying. You know what I mean?
He's not weird, he's eccentric.
Fair. But I feel like we're splitting hairs. I feel like weird and eccentric are the same motherfucking thing. And I feel like one is stigmatized and one is what you say when you're, eating quiche with your pinky up or some shit.
Right,
you know
exactly. What else you got, buddy? Let's move along.
Oh, okay. Kipo. It's an animation. Actually, no. Before we move on, you never told me what did the girls think of fucking Birds of Prey?
Oh, they loved it. Yeah, I mean, they were super into it. I mean, yeah, they were very, very into it. They liked it. And when I was watching them, it was like only the three of us in the theater, then two women behind us, like 4 or 5 rows back. So we're kind of got the whole theater to ourselves. That's awesome. They just ate it up. They just really, really liked it. And I realized that, the violence is like the violence in it, but it's really nothing worse than that they'll see on like a TV show on Netflix or something.
And that's what I'm saying. That was my whole argument from the top. Because we've talked on this, we both have talked on this podcast about how like our parents showed us some shit when we were kids that like, look at the kind of people that we are. It's not about what you show, motherfuckers. It's about like being able to tell them, that is entertainment, that is blah blah blah, and they get that.
Yeah,
they get it. Like we got it. We got it. We got it. You know what I'm saying? Like if we could get it, I don't know why we don't trust, the next motherfuckers that we are then now responsible for to get it too. You know what I mean?
Yeah. They ate it up. They loved it.
Yeah, because for me, like the ratings shouldn't have mattered. Like parents should have been like, "Yo, I'm gonna take my kids to see this because one, it's representation, and representation fucking matters."
True.
And But
go
ahead.
You have to vet it first. You just don't know. Is it Deadpool? Is it that style of violence with that style of language? Yeah, this one had language, but it's nothing they don't hear walking down the street. So okay.
And that was my even with Deadpool, like.
Yeah, I'm not going to sit down and watch Deadpool. Like
it's almost comical. You may not sit down and watch Deadpool with them, but like.
But you will.
I definitely will. Well, because like I feel like they can handle it. Like they're like, maybe the argument could be made that what, let's not go.
Yeah.
Let's keep moving.
The very last thing I want to say is that they're also saying that some of the low budget was blamed on audience hesitation in the United States as well as the outbreak of the coronavirus in Asia, closing some theaters.
That's bullshit.
Yeah. Anyways, move on. What do you got? Were you saying key in what?
Wait, what? Oh, Hunters.
Oh, yeah.
Hunters.
Yes, I have thoughts. Let's talk about Hunters.
All right, so you
Major
saw it.
Thoughts.
All right, please. Well,
I've seen the first 3 episodes.
That's exactly the amount that I've seen too.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, so you
what
didn't.
Are your thoughts?
Okay, so I
didn't finish it. I started it last night. I literally started it last night because I realized that I hadn't watched anything that was kind of like hot topic right now.
Right.
And so I was like, let me at least watch something that I could be like, oh, have you seen this? Because I know it's brand fucking new.
Yeah. Well, listen. So if you know what Hunters is, it's Al Pacino and it's his Amazon Prime show. It's about Jews hunting Nazis, basically, in 1977.
Let's say it's executive key. Is it what's his name? Keenan? No, it's Jordan Peele. Jordan Peele is the executive producer on it, so he put up the bulk of the bread to get this made. Apparently,
it's a comic property turned into a TV show.
Also, very true, and it is Al Pacino is one of the main characters, but this cast is pretty stacked. It's pretty good as far as like the casting is done. Go ahead. You have issues on it. So
I think the show is exploitative.
I agree because I felt the same way.
I can't imagine being Jewish and watching this show and getting into it. I also can't imagine. I especially can't imagine having family members who were Holocaust survivors, who died in the Holocaust, and then watching this show.
Right.
Because it fetishizes sort of Nazism and white supremacy in a way that, like,
yes.
I thought a lot about it actually.
I was fascinated. There was. I'm sorry. I don't want to interrupt, but I want to get this point off my brain before I forget it because that is my tendency. But there was a point in almost every one of the first 3 episodes where Al Pacino's character says the term or the phrase "we're doing God's work."
Right.
And it bothered me every single time. Every single time I was like, no, you're not doing God's work. You're doing man's work. Because nothing about murdering, even though they're Nazis, even though they're and the way that you're absolutely right, it fetishizes like Nazism in this way that I was like, all these people are like super Nazis, like they like every single one of the people that they go after are like torturers or sadistic, and then they show you they show you like the history of their sadism, like, well, this motherfucker likes pulling teeth out of children,
right? And
like,
here's this box of teeth that he's kept,
right?
Even though it endangers his entire existence, he's so evil that he's kept this box for 50 years.
And the thing, and I think for me, I feel like this is one of those ones that would have served with not a rated R rating. I feel like
agreed.
I feel like this is one of those that you could have definitely PG-13 this a little bit more, so that like people alive who remember this shit, right? It's the same way like I don't want to like watch Roots or like see like Amistad and things like that. Like that kind of shit is not.
Well, it's just bizarre because it's like the one of the morals or the themes and the idea in the show is like, you know, I think it's Al Pacino's character that says the greatest gift of the Jewish people is our capacity to remember.
Yeah.
But then it's also not accurate in its history either.
Right.
So it's sort of like, remember and don't ever forget these truths, but now here's some fictional truth that we put in here because we want to make a show that's sort of like Inglourious Bastards.
Right.
You know?
Right. And it was interesting because there was another thing that I feel like Al Pacino's character says that it fucks with me in a way. He was like, it was like there was no, like, we are people who we've had the greatest, like, it was basically like our trauma is the most traumatic, and therefore we're justified in this way of
right.
Our actions are justified.
Yes, I know what
by
you're saying.
this.
That
and
moment,
I was like, word? I was like, well, one, you're inaccurate in that because Mao definitely killed more Chinese motherfuckers than Hitler killed Jews.
Well, the line is,
like
sorry to interrupt, but the line that he says in there is of the current, I can't remember, of this current century. So it sort of sidelines slavery.
Yeah, that's my point.
It's like
that's my point. I was like, you're not even talking transatlantic. Like it was one of these lines in this show that I was like, dude, yo,
yeah, you
can actively. That is, you didn't have to. No, you're like, that is not true. One and two. Well, and then I started to vacillate because I was like, well, let me look into the psychology of a person that would survive something like this. Of course, they would think that their trauma is the most impressive. Sure. And then that for me let me keep going. I was like, okay. I had to let go of some of the stuff, a lot of the stuff. Well, because you remember there's that one moment where the old Nazi has murdered up all those people in the yard, and then he's talking to the young Nazi, and the young Nazi has nothing to say in the scene. It's like right at the top.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, well, just, blame it on a black. He's like, I could goose step in the middle of. So it's almost like he was quoting Trump,
right?
Because you remember when he was campaigning in 2016, he was like,
I'll shoot somebody dead in the street. I can get away with it.
And get away. It was echoing that, and then he was like, yo, just blame it on the black guy, which once again it's echoing the president who basically put out a full-page ad in the New York Times calling for the Central Park 5 to get the death penalty. Like,
so this guy's our president.
You know what I'm saying? So there were parts of it that I was like, oh, fuck, I gotta keep watching. You know, even with the problems, I think this is what I'll say. I feel like it's worth watching. But it would have served for them to be a little bit more sensitive to the motherfuckers who are still alive that remember that shit.
Right. Well, it's the difference between look at the difference between like a show like Hunters versus Watchmen, or even the comic Watchmen or the movie Watchmen, where we have an alternative history in Watchmen. So we know that everything from that point on is fictionalized. This drops us in 1977. and it never really makes clear that this is in any way an alternative
this
history.
way adult. Well,
And they've actually fabricated
Yeah.
some of the ideas
Right.
of they've trumped up these Nazis, to use a
Right.
pun. They made them
Right.
even more despicable with fictional depictions, right?
Right.
That are even worse. And the Auschwitz
Right.
Memorial has slammed the show over its human chess scene, for example.
Really? No shit. Like, what did they say?
I'm trying to find a quote here that's useful.
That didn't actually happen. That seemed like some really like perverse comic book Nazi shit. That seemed like supervillain comic book Nazi shit.
So here's a quote. It is worrying that distinguished publishers like Amazon would make available products that promote racist or hate speech of any kind, let alone those from the darkest period of European history. The poison mushroom did not appear in the... I don't know, whatever. Anyways, they've come out and they've basically talked about this sort of trumping up of the Nazis and this in order to make it more entertaining. You know what I mean?
I don't think
you don't need to make Nazis more entertaining in a show that's not clear about its fictional intents.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. It's sort of what was striking to me was episode 1 to episode 2. Episode 1, for the most part, was sort of like a hyper real, very kind of like, let me tell this very strong story that has to do with like Nazis and Jews and sort of that thing. And then in the second episode, there seems to be like a switch that flips.
For sure. Here's Tarantino stuff.
Yeah. Here's how we're going to introduce
that
people.
Song
Like
from Pulp Fiction, the Dick Dale song, Miserlou.
Oh no shit! Is that? Oh no shit! You might be right about that.
When they're introducing all of the characters,
when they're writing the elevator
Tarantino
down,
made famous.
Oh no shit! That's it did remind. Okay, yeah.
Oh wait, here's the quote from the Auschwitz Memorial. Quote, inventing a fake game of human chess for et hunters on Prime is not only dangerously foolish and caricature, it also welcomes future deniers. We honor the victims by preserving factual accuracy.
Word.
Like, so either come out and be like, this is an alternative history, this is a what if, which I think Tarantino's Inglourious Bastards does, especially by killing Hitler at the end of the movie. There's no doubt that, okay, this movie is fictional. This is not what actually happened. These guys were able to kill Hitler at the end of the movie. You know, for better or for worse, whatever you think about that movie, nobody thinks... There's no mistake that any of that was real or not, you know?
Also they didn't go to the depths of sort of like showing like cruelty like that.
Right.
Like there weren't scenes where that scene where like old girl is being processed into whatever and she's getting tattooed and like she's sitting at a table with other women just nude as they're getting their hair chopped off and shit.
Ugh.
Yeah, like unnecessary. Like, and I get that. Like, he's reading his grandmother's like account of what happened in it, but it could have easily just been a voiceover and him sort of like like doing it without actually having to see these as I'm watching it, my mind is like, how do you audition a bunch of motherfuckers to do that? Because it took me back to when like I shot a short film for it's in the fucking Alabama, that memorial of like the lynching museum. I shot there, you know, the thing that the movie that they show you when you come in and like, hey, this is what you're gonna come see. I shot the movie for that.
Oh Jesus!
And yeah, and it was a 4-day shoot. And we spent 2 days, like on like the set that they had built, where like I had to like be like basically like a slave processing set, basically how they're processing a slave. And then there was 2 days on an actual fucking plantation in Maryland.
Ugh.
And like sort of like, and I remember, and I was the lead actor on that, so like. I remember just being on the land and feeling the energy coming out of the ground and being like, "Yo, we need to speed things along." I know like these things kind of take time and for each take whatever, but like the longer I was in that place, the more anxious I became. And the last scene of the day, that was the sort of the march to the river, the manacle shot where they chained us, me and the other extras on that together. And like with the authentic like slave chains, with the authentic like neck collars and shit like that. And I remember us shooting the last take and just I was like, yo, you got to get me out of these manacles. Like, and the guy who was supposed to like be responsible for like taking these props, like he was having issues with like getting the key to like work in it, like. And the longer it took him to get me out of this restraints, the more it anxious and like. So when he finally got me out of these restraints, I literally had to run like 100 yards off away from the crew and just let out like one of the more guttural rage screams that I had to like vent. It was too much. There was too much. Oh, it was too much. You know what I'm saying? So like, as an actor, as an actress, like to do a scene like this, like I know for everybody on the set doing this shit, it was real for them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, 100%.
Except for maybe Al Pacino.
Yeah, well,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So for like, it was just for me watching it was fascinating to me because as an actor to sort of portray, to sort of act trauma for a camera, especially the way that this production does it, it's hard to watch.
Yeah.
It's extremely hard to watch.
Yeah, well, David Weil and he says that the show is inspired by true events, but has never been itself billed as a documentary, which I don't think excuses him. He does go on to quote, "Why did I feel this scene," he's talking about the chess scene, "was important to script and place in the series?" He's in it. He's a grandson of a Holocaust survivor, so he's connected to it. He says, "To most powerfully counteract the revisionist narrative that whitewashes Nazi perpetration by showcasing the most extreme and representationally truthful sadism and violence that the Nazis perpetuate against the Jews and other victims." So that's his response to, the Auschwitz memorial. But I think from a standpoint of here is something that is real violence, these women getting tattooed and their heads shaved, and then all of a sudden we're going to jump to a glorified violence in the 1977 representation of these guys. It's just those two things don't fit. You can't show me that one violence is okay and then one violence because of revenge is I don't know. It sits with me just not well.
No, I think you had us flip like,
yeah, you know what I'm saying.
One violence is not okay,
right?
And then the other one is just, and I think that's what was my issue with every time Al Pacino would say, "We're doing God's work in this." I'm like, no, you got to stop. Like I actively in the room as I'm watching this had like, and you know me in religion and like I hold those motherfuckers just as accountable as anybody else. But like I was like, you got to stop saying that you're doing God's work. And even after I gave myself the character's justification, I was still like, no, that I don't like that line because it's. Yeah, anyway, no. This is man's justification.
Yeah. Anyways, we got to make a choice here because I got comments or I got Sonic the Hedgehog.
I think we got to go Sonic the Hedgehog. This is a Sonic episode. I want to know. I want to actively know what the girls thought about it. I want to know their opinions because they are just as much of a reviewers of content as we are. In fact, they're probably better reviewers of content because they have no preconceived things about it.
Yeah, well, Sonic was a huge hit. Opened up, I guess, last week.
Financially, it was a huge hit financially.
It's already been, it's already made its money back. So it's the biggest video game adaptation movie of all time.
Of all time? Wow.
Yeah, of all time.
Can you name what was the one before this?
No, I don't think anybody.
I don't know that question either. And I know you were like, hey, you should probably watch some video game adaptation movie. And the only one that I could think of off the top of my head was Mortal Kombat.
Well, there's also the Super Mario Brothers movie. Shout out to Bo, who saw that in the theater with me.
Yo, shout out to R.I.P. Bob Hoskins. Shout out to my man Johnny Legs, because I love that movie.
I kind of love that movie too.
Shout out to Bob Hoskins, who's King Koopa. Look, that is. We should review that one on this podcast.
We 100% should. It is. I kind of think it's good.
I love that movie. I know it's bad. I know. And I mean, based on the metrics that the movies are made with, I know it's bad. But there are too many elements of it that come together and make it so good.
So,
Fisher Stevens is in this movie.
Yeah.
Fisher fucking Paint Myself Brown and be an Indian guy in Short Circuit 1 and 2 Stevens.
Yep. That's right.
I'm sorry. Okay.
I've met him, by the way. He's
Wait, seriously?
He's a friend of Laurel's, my wife's.
No shit.
Yeah.
Laurel's friend knows Fisher Stevens?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. So, was this Christmas party or like
Can't
orgy?
remember.
Eyes
Before we had
Wide Shut
kids.
orgy, huh?
He was nice. He's a big art collector. He buys a lot of art now.
Oh, no shit. So definitely Eyes Wide Shut party. Okay, makes sense.
So Sonic, it had an $81 to $95 million budget. We're not entirely sure how much of that budget went to the redesign of Sonic. Because as everyone knows who's listening, and as you know, they released photos of Sonic or the preview of Sonic and then I don't think just fan backlash. I think people's reactions to that were like, no.
What the fuck? Why does his teeth look like that?
And so, depending on your perspective, they went and they changed it. And
they did.
Depending on your opinion, it is either better or worse than that thing. I think it happens to be much better.
I think it is 125% better.
Yeah, and I will say that I kind of called this. I said that I think this movie is going to make quite a bit of money. I never said it was going to be good.
You did. I think you did say. I'm the first person to be like, yeah, I think that motherfucker was right.
Yeah.
I think you did. You called it. You said it would make money, and I was
people were just so
based on that first one,
in the fact that that this Sonic looked like shit. If he looked like shit and nobody cared, then I would have been like, nah, this movie's gonna bomb. Nobody's gonna see it. But it went on in the first 2 weeks, a week and a half, to make $203 million in just the United States. So you will probably be getting sequels to this.
Well, just in the United States, for sure makes sense because Sonic was a huge hit here when the Sega Genesis dropped and Sonic was the title. He was basically the Mario of that system. When they dropped it sold dumb units. Yeah, I played the shit out of those first couple. Like I know I watched the animated series a bunch too. Yeah, it's on Netflix right now. If you want, it's not good. Yeah, it's not good, but it's on Netflix right now. So
this, the plot is actually kind of a lot like Mario Brothers in the sense that you have this video game that has kind of no story other than the Mario Brothers have to save a princess. What's the story of Sonic? He's like runs around, collects rings, and fights Dr. Robotnik. Beyond
but now he's stuck in our reality. I thought that was the thing of the. And so the first. So what is Dr. Robotnik is a guy tasked with figuring out this anomalous thing in our reality. Is that basically the plot?
The trailer pretty much tells you all of it.
How's Carrie? How's our boy Jim?
I ate him up in this movie, man.
Of course you did. Of course.
He is in my opinion, not my wife's because she had the opposite opinion, but in my opinion, he is returned to form from Dumb and Dumber days. Like if you were a Jim Carrey fan and you want to see him do Jim Carrey shit, go see Sonic.
I'm gonna have to. I'm off tomorrow from rehearsal, so I might have to just find a bike or take an Uber. I'm gonna go see Sonic tomorrow.
This movie will be greatly enhanced by your weed lemonade or your gummies or any of your products from the Dwayne Weed store. Like trust me, like it's not a deep movie, and like I think it works on a level that will entertain kids. Like my kids loved it; they really, really liked it. It'll also work on a level that will entertain adults because some of the script writing, the dialogue is genuinely very funny. Like they refer to James, what's his face, James Marsden as the Donut Lord throughout the thing. Like I say, Jim Carrey is like Jim Carrey. Like there's a reason why you can put on Dumb and Dumber or what's his other one, Liar Liar. or some of the other, quintessential Jim Carrey movies and still laugh today. And I bet that you'll still laugh at him in this movie as well. The other thing that
I
really
love Jim Carrey. I do.
Yeah, the other thing
and the fact that Keenan Ivory Wayne's, put him on, gave him his start.
Right. Yeah. So the other thing that really helped in this movie is that for whatever reason, man, the crowd that was in the audience with me, they fucking loved it. And when you see a movie and the crowd loves it and you kind of like it, but that makes you like it even more because everybody else is just having a great time at Sonic the Hedgehog on a Saturday. That's what this was, man. So I hope that when you do see it, if you do see it in the theater, that you get a crowd that's, energetic about it.
Honestly, I kind of want to see this in the theater by myself, just like or one or two people. Like it sounds like I might enjoy this more than I had planned to.
Yeah. But don't let me build it up too much because it's not like it's like groundbreaking.
But see, I think what? Honestly, I feel like this is one of the movies that would have served that we definitely should have seen together.
Yeah, I think so too.
I feel like you're kind of like lukewarm, and my kind of like lukewarm would have made for a combination of this is actually kind of fucking cool.
Yeah, it's kind of a drinking movie too. Like I could have had it. Actually, I did.
Perfect.
We went to Alamo, and I had 2 beers throughout the movie, so that helped as well.
Yeah, perfect.
There's tons of little shout outs into it, like the town that Sonic ends up in while he's sort of because he's on his home planet at the beginning, and then he has to run away from some things, and he jumps the rings that he has. They form portals, and so he jumps through one of the portals and ends up.
And it leads him to our world. Yeah, that's
Green Hills, Montana. And Green Hills was the name of the first level in the Sonic.
Right.
Right. But Jim Carrey's just bad shit, man. It's just fun to watch this guy go nuts again, and it's fun to watch Jim Carrey enjoy being Jim Carrey again. Right? Because it felt like for some of his later movies...
You felt like there was a time that he wasn't enjoying being himself.
Yeah, he knew what his shtick was and was so aware of his shtick that he wasn't enjoying doing it. It's like he's come full circle now, and he's thankful for his shtick again, and that makes him enjoy it and appreciate it, which makes the performance that much better, right?
Yeah, I do. I'm hoping that one day you'll get there so you can start enjoying the things that we all used to enjoy, like, Transformers or,
That's not my shtick.
Like anything that we typically would get down. I'm just saying, maybe one day. Maybe not now, but one day. But yeah.
But the other good thing, and before we move on, the other good thing about this is because this is a success, a financial success. Whereas movies like Super Mario Brothers, the Street Fighter movie, with Raul Julia,
with Raul Julia, and a coked out
Double Dragon,
Van Damme. Oh God,
Doom.
That was so bad.
Yeah,
I liked Doom. It grew on me.
Yeah, Doom's on the better side of those things. But none of those movies really made that much money, and none of them were very good critically hits. I would not say this is a critical hit, but people are saying, yeah, it's good. If you have kids, you take them to it, they'd probably like it,
Right.
But what that does is that opens up the door for any of your favorite video game properties to suddenly now be considered financially doable.
All right. What? I mean, based on that, what you just said, what would be the first one you think that a studio would jump on?
God,
I have 2 right off the top that I'll be like,
what's yours?
This is right up. I would say Ratchet and Clank or Banjo Kazooie.
Yeah, sure.
And if they wanted to go the rated R route, they could do Crocker from Crocker's Bad Day Out. Crocker's Bad Fur Day.
You're thinking of a mascot type video game situation.
Yeah, because that's exactly what this is. Sonic, like we said, Sonic was the these Mario Brothers mascot of the Sega Genesis.
Right.
So if you were based on what you were saying, the commercial success of this, this could spawn things like that. Like if they were to do a live action Crocker's Bad Fur Day.
Oh yeah.
I feel like that would murder. That would murder because then you got all the fan base, plus you got the rated R rating based on this. And then the weirdos are going to take their kids to see it because it's a video game property.
I could see another Mario Brothers happening, actually, because of this.
Really? Oh, I don't know, man. I don't
There's
know. That'd be tough to do.
There's like one moment towards the beginning where I think, I can't remember why, but for whatever reason, Sonic, he's kind of on Earth, and the only other place you can go using the rings, I don't know why, I can't remember, it's not important, is like a mushroom planet. But he's like, I hate mushrooms, I don't want to go to the mushroom planet. But then I started thinking, oh my god, is this linked to Nintendo in some way? Cause
that could easily be like how they get to make a Mario Brothers movie. Yeah,
right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it just suddenly like opened up the floodgates in my mind about where this could go. You know?
Think about this. This could easily turn into a Super Smash Brothers kind of thing.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you ever play any of those games, the Super Smash Brothers?
Yeah, hell yeah.
I'm
trying to think who else was on the Super Smash Brother team.
Everybody was on the Super Pikachu, like all the things that Disney owns.
This made more money than Pikachu, by the way.
Oh yeah, I know.
Detective Pikachu.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I know.
Because that's considered a video game movie.
It is, because it is a video game movie. It is.
Yeah.
I mean, ostensibly, the Detective Pikachu movie is the first live-action Pokemon movie.
How about Zelda? I bet we get a Zelda movie because of this.
Oh, that would be dope.
Right?
Live-action Zelda would be so dope. Done well. A live-action Zelda movie. It should have already made that. It's interesting that they made a Mario movie, but they didn't make a Zelda movie, and they didn't make a Metroid movie.
Yeah, Metroid would be good too.
Metroid would be great, but like I guess they had made Aliens, so they were like too close. But
yeah. So what else you got? You got Kirby, right?
Yeah, Kirby.
Donkey Kong.
What else you got?
Yoshi.
Fuck Yoshi, because Yoshi's tied to Mario. That's not gonna happen. Yoshi's a tertiary character for Mario, so like that's it right there. We basically just named it.
Yeah.
Zelda, Mario, Metroid, Castlevania.
Yeah, I could see a live-action Castlevania. That would be cool.
I could definitely see a live-action Castlevania based on what the anime just did.
With a tone like The Witcher?
With a tone like The Witcher, absolutely. Yeah, I could definitely see that.
Yeah. So it's exciting, man. So I think, if you get a chance, you got nothing else to do, pop over, check it out, see what you think.
Okay, for sure.
It's not, like I say, it's not gonna blow you away.
Yeah, but I didn't plan for it to blow me away. I just planned to be entertaining. I planned for it to be entertaining, and all right. Well, I feel like this is one of the few times where you've gone and seen the movie and reviewed it, and I hadn't gone and seen it, but I'm like excited to go and see it.
I'm also not spoiling it for you deliberately, because there's some things I could say that would give away some things.
No. I don't. I kind of want. I want to be surprised by Carrie's performance. I want to be. It looks like it looks like something I would enjoy for a number of reasons. Notwithstanding that we haven't already spoken about.
Yeah. Mega Man, that'd be a good one.
Oh shit! Well, I don't know why we just didn't go there right away. Yeah, Mega Man would be a great one, actually.
Yeah, Mega Man would be really.
Because you could do it in the vein of what's that Bruce Lee movie where he fights Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, where you have to go up the pagoda.
Right. So it's like he just get every level is a different. What is that? Chinese Connection.
Chinese Connection. I think. Yeah, I think it's Chinese Connection. Yeah. But you go to the different levels of pagoda, and then there are like all like the different,
different bosses. There's Sawman, and there's Aqua
Sawman and Blade Man, and
Tampon Girl. And...
wow, really? Tampon Girl?
No, they had some weird ones though there for a while. They had like Biscuit Guy or some. It's just weird Mega Man.
Biscuit Guy, really?
I don't know.
I'm gonna have to go down the rabbit hole on something because I don't remember any of them being that obscure. They're like. Syntax dude.
Syllable man.
Kinetic energy guy. I don't. It seems like one of them kind of.
Well, here's a few. They had Woodman. They had Sheepman. Pump Man. Toxic Seahorse.
Pump Man?
Yeah, Pump Man.
Did he just like just shoot anabolic steroids into himself and
I'll pump you up.
Rages out. You're like, whoa, Pump Man, calm down. You're gonna aneurysm out, and you don't have to fight him. He just has an aneurysm, and that's you just have to get him to just inject more.
Wire Sponge apparently was a Mega Man villain.
Wire Sponge?
Yeah. Burst
Okay.
Man.
I mean, if you think about it like this, like Mega Man has been around as long as we've been on the planet, so you're probably gonna have to run out of like. And what was interesting is that they were all called something Man. They were. Were there ever any Mega Man villains that were women? Were there ever
I don't think so.
Mega Woman, or
yes,
like
Tampon
Wood
Girl, Tampon Woman was not a real Mega Man villain. I think that, but maybe that's the thing. It's Mega Man, so everybody in that world
is a man.
Is a man.
Seems kind of fucked up, man. Seems kind of limited, bro. Seems kind of limited, bro. Where they getting all these men from? How they? Oh, right, they're robots.
They're all robots. Why are you making all the robots men? Come on.
Yeah, I'm saying, what does that say about the creator right now?
No wonder there's always war and strife and
right?
battles.
Right? You ain't make no female. You ain't make one female robot to be like, hey, boys, maybe don't fight each other. Why don't we just sit down and have some mint juleps? I don't know why this robot wants some mint juleps since she's from the South. I really don't know. I don't know.
All right, well, I'm your host, Lawrence Stahl. I'm going to end on that.
And I'm your boy, Rob Robson. Sometimes you just want to, you want to end on the gold.
I know. I need to go get a mint julep. That's what I'm doing right now.
Well, I mean, I feel like in your house, you got all the ingredients. You just do it in your house. Right?
That's what I'm doing. I'm going to go make a mint julep.
But, yo, hit us up on the normal channels of
stuff. There's links.
Stuff.
They're in the podcast. Links.
They're going to be at the bottom of the thing that we say here. And I know typically that motherfucker Lawrence usually does this. But clearly he's going to get himself a mint julep. So I'm relegated to giving y'all this information. And all I'm going to tell you is, it's at What We Into on all of the major things. You can hit us up on the Spotify. Just go over there and hit a like. iTunes, go over there and hit a like.
Subscribe.
Even if you don't. Subscribe, please. That's the word I was looking for. Subscribe.
Yeah.
Just go ahead and click it, and the rest of them links for like Patreon and our Twitter account. That's all there in the bottom of this. Hit us up.
Hit us up.
We'd love to hear from you.
If you made it this far in the podcast, then either you hate us that much that you had to listen to every word, or you actually kind of like it.
You gotta kind of dig it. So
yeah,
fuck with us.
Yeah, spread that love around.
Yeah.
All right, my dude. I'll contact you sometime this week, and then we'll plan for the next one.
All right, my dude. I go into tech this Friday.
Okay.
So hit me up either before then or after. After will probably put us into next week. I don't know if that's our move, but hit me up. Yeah,
probably next week because I'm doing a wedding. I'm going to Florida this weekend.
Oh, that's right. Is this Robert?
Rachel.
Rachel, right?
Yeah.
But her husband's Robert? Is it Rachel and Rob?
I'm gonna say maybe.
No, you don't even know. That's fine. You don't even know. All right.
I guarantee by the end of this weekend I'll know.
Well, then I will. Our next podcast we will talk weddings. So
we'll talk weddings. We'll talk tech.
All right, bet.
All right, buddy.
All right, bet.
Say hi to Peter's story for me.
Yeah, for sure. Peace.
I gotta go pick up those kids.